Hi, I'm Susan M. of ImLaw. Today's topic is the green card process for Schedule A certified shortage occupations, including physical therapists and registered nurses. Well, what does this process look like? It typically starts with an information gathering stage where ImLaw will provide the prospective employer, or sometimes it's the current employer, with a detailed questionnaire asking for all sorts of items, including what is the offered position, what are the minimum educational training and work experience requirements for that position, are there any other special requirements, what is the offered salary, and then with the foreign national, we're going to want to explore what is your educational background, your training and experience. Do you possess the required licensure and visa screen certificates? Once we've reviewed the information, typically there's a follow-up with the employer and with the foreign national, and then we move on to evaluating the case, your eligibility for the I-140 Schedule A based green card process. Once we have completed that evaluation, we're ready to move forward. The first thing that we will move to prepare is known as a prevailing wage determination. Prevailing wage determination. And this is something that we submit to the Department of Labor, and typically it can take a few weeks to several weeks to process with DOL. While that prevailing wage is pending with the Department of Labor, ImLaw will prepare what is known as a notice of filing to be provided to the employer for review. And once we have a finalized notice of filing, this is something that has to be placed on site for a minimum of 10 consecutive business days, excluding holidays and excluding days when the employer is actually shut down. And after this notice of filing is taken down, the employer will finalize and date the notice of filing, and something known as the 30-day mandatory quiet period begins. What is that? Well, that's a period of time that's in the regulations that's required for the anybody that sees that notice of filing. If they want to report any information to the Department of Labor, they can do so. But that 30-day quiet period is mandatory. We cannot file the I-140 Schedule A petition with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service until that full 30 days has passed from the last date of posting. And so we've got the notice of filing to the employer. The prevailing wage determination has maybe come back at this time. In the meantime, we are preparing all of the other required documents, which include the I-140 petition form for the employer, a detailed letter in support that sets forth the offered position, details about the employer, and details about the foreign national's background and how he or she qualifies for that offered position. There's another form known as the ETA 9089, or the PERM labor certification, that is not required to be certified by the Department of Labor, unlike other sorts of green card applications for many other professionals where you're required to have certification of a PERM labor cert application with Department of Labor. It's an onerous process. It requires testing of a job market. With Schedule A occupations such as physical therapists and registered nurses, no certification of the labor cert is required, but you do still have to submit this form, and it's something that's required to be signed both by the employer and the foreign national. There's also a requirement at the I-140 stage for the employer to establish its ability to pay, the ability to pay the offered salary. And they have to establish they have this ability to pay it at the time the foreign national is approved for green card status. Not at the time of the application, but at the time that their green card process is finally approved. So that's the preparation piece of it. Once we have drafted all of our documents and we've sent them to the employer, and there is one form that the foreign national has to review and sign as well, we request that all those documents come back to us, and once we've confirmed that the full 30-day quiet period has ended from the last date on the notice of filing, we are ready to file that I-140 Schedule A petition package with the USCIS. Processing time can range anywhere, typically it can be a few months to several months. Right now they're running right at about 6 months, but depending on the service center, it could be as high as 8 to 10 months. And that processing time fluctuates all the time. Sometimes after receipt of an I-140 filing, the USCIS will issue what is known as a request for evidence. They want additional evidence or additional information that they believe is pertinent to their adjudication of that I-140. The second stage of the green card process for Schedule A certified shortage occupations, which are physical therapists and registered nurses, is known as either adjustment of status. Adjustment of status is a immigration legal term for getting green card status from within the United States, or immigrant visa processing, if for some reason a foreign national is not eligible to adjust status in the United States, they have to do it from outside the United States, we may have to opt for immigrant visa processing. And there are other reasons why a foreign national may opt for immigrant visa processing. Maybe it's a shorter processing time. They can get an interview date quicker at the U.S. Embassy in their home country than USCIS can adjudicate an adjustment. Those are things that we can talk about in more detail, in a consultation. But this last stage, it's very important to note that both for physical therapists and registered nurses, you can't file the final stage of the green card process until the government has confirmed that there is a currently available visa number or green card available for your particular employment-based category. For registered nurses, you're falling under the EB3 category, backlogged by 6+ multiple years. This backlog fluctuates over time, currently at 6+ years. It's a very long wait. So you better, if that registered nurse is in the United States, you've got to find a way for that person to maintain their non-immigrant status while they wait that out. If they're outside the country, they're waiting out that long processing time. For physical therapists, they may fall under the EB3 category if the minimum requirement for their position is less than an advanced degree. It's not a master's degree, it's a bachelor's degree, and it's less than 5 years of experience. They're going to fall under the EB3 with the multiple year wait too. For some luckier EB2 physical therapists, where the minimum requirement of the employer is a master's degree in physical therapy or bachelor's degree and 5 years of experience, they may fall under the EB2 category, and it may not be as long of a wait to be able to file that second stage, except for those folks that have been born in China or India. They are still subject to country quotas for EB2, and they are still subject to multiple year waits. Not quite as bad as those for EB3, but still a long period of time. My last point, this is a very common question that I get from foreign national candidates, is how can I get my employer to make me EB2? A foreign national cannot make their employer sponsor them for the EB2 category. It's all about whether the employer's true minimum requirements and also the industry norm. If the minimum requirements for your position really are an advanced degree, a master's degree or higher, or a bachelor's degree and 5 years of experience relevant to the occupation, that's what's going to qualify you for the EB2 category, not just whether you, in fact, the foreign national, in fact, possesses a master's degree or bachelor's plus 5 years. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.